thank you everyone for coming and staying. Hopefully, we have an interesting panel discussion left for you. And if you have any more questions, this is a good time to ask them or just discuss. We have 5 wonderful panelists here on stage. Vladimir, who is head of product at Smelter. Olga, who's the CEO of Toloka. And Tacy, who is one of the most important people for the CEO of Toloka. And then we have Ariel from Similarweb, and Rafael. I'm sorry, guys, I'm not going to name your titles because I don't actually know them. That's I don't want to lie. And I actually wanted to ask first, who is from a small startup and who is from like a large company? Let's say small startup. Small startup less than 50 people. Raise your hands. Okay, no startups. Between 50 and 500 people. Okay, and then the rest is above 500 people or... Okay, cool. All right, well, that's good. Because basically, you see the dynamics in your company, and I think one of the curious questions, in my opinion, is at what point of the company's development should you start using AI or machine learning or models, or actually start doing something with machine learning or AI? Okay, who wants to answer first? Do we have another microphone or? Okay, cool.
Well, Similarweb is a little unique because the product is the estimation of the machine learning models. So we won't have anything. I mean, it's kind of similar to Smelter, I guess. So it's unique. But let's say, for example, in other departments that are not directly involved with the actual product, we barely have any machine learning models, even at our size, which is about 1,000 people.
Can people hear the speakers?
I can maybe answer this question from... Ariel is coming from the research part in Similarweb, and I'm coming from the engineering part in Similarweb. I'm managing both data scientist and data engineer, and yeah, we don't have probably nothing without machine learning, but what I have learned is sometimes you need to kill short or kill the dreams of some of our data scientists which are trying to solve small problem with rocket ships and spaceships and stuff like that, and sometimes you need to distinguish between when you need to do the deep learning on top of every other cool name that they read in some article to something which is more something which will be more easy for productionization, which is in some part this is the hard part for us to productize a machine learning model and to make it consistent over time and predictable over time, because this is what we are selling for our customers.
Anybody else? I guess I'm gonna just talk louder because I can do that part, and then the microphone.
I think Fedor, probably this question is not very relevant to this particular audience, because we all work in technological companies whose products are based on machine learning. That's why it's hard to answer like that. We are, as you mentioned, right? We need some machine learning from the start. But if we speak about some non-ML based products, from what I see, I would actually agree with Rafael with the fact that sometimes if you have data scientists in your team, it can be hard to stop them from trying to invent something cosmic. And at the same time, if you don't have any, it's really, really hard to start from zero. That's why for can you hold my apple, please? So for some young companies, from what we see from many of the clients which are in companies that are using Toloka as a platform, is that for early stages, using some already pre-developed solutions, out-of-the-box solutions, is kind of preferable than trying to invent something.
Okay, thank you.
The apple for the microphone.
On.
Yeah, so in Smelter, I think the ML is the base of our product, so that's why we don't think about this. We just start to using Smelter in the first day, or Smelter ML from the first day.
Okay. Well, thank you. I guess Stacy's certainly agreeing with some of these. Thank you. So I guess the next question I have is, so because this event is about marketing, in terms of marketing, what trends do you see nowadays for marketing analytics? What's happening in this world? And not everyone has to answer, but if you do see any trends in marketing analytics, please share with us. I think maybe Vlad, you can share and then pass this on.
Yeah, we based on that we heard from our potential customers when we talk with them. So they ask us very frequently about their gathering mentions from not only from the text data. So here I talk about Smelter, and we gathering data from the text. But for now, a lot of marketing wants to understand what's going inside in images, in audio, in video. They try to understand what's going on, how their competitors promote in the TikTok, for example, the analyzing of short videos. So I think it's the next step because I don't think that's even of companies who analyze data from in social media, they have a good solution for such analyzing. So I think this is the next step for this market, and it's a hard task to gather and analyze data in the short videos from the TikTok, short YouTubes and Reels. Yeah. So.
Thank you. Does anyone who wants to answer?
Yeah, maybe you can say it. In Similarweb, we also have a product which is the marketing intelligence. I don't know if you're familiar with that, and part of it is mainly for websites, but we have it also in apps. What we do see in terms of trends is in the past couple of months, and obviously in relation to the recession, we can see less and less investment in user acquisition, for example, in the apps world. So in total, the number of downloads of downloaded apps which are coming from marketing efforts, like not organic downloads, are dropped by, from our point of view, approximately 15 to 20%, which I think in some way reflects some major cutting in user acquisition budgets. So I think that this is the main trend that we are seeing.
Sorry, in what period did the drop happen?
The thing that I mentioned is something that we are seeing since, let me remember the date exactly. Yeah, so the past 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And because we also see lots of things in websites, but it's not my area. I'm responsible for the app intelligence. So in apps, it's really obvious currently.
I want to briefly mention that actually Refi did work about the so-called quote-unquote death of Facebook. So this completely agrees with what Vlad said, that that the traditional platforms for marketing are moving to the younger platforms, and in Similarweb we can actually see this trend happening.
Thank you. You can just keep it. I can ask the question. This way, yeah. Thank you very much. These are interesting discussions. By the way,
I actually had one more question related to that. Do you think that this like reducing of the share of downloads of like the budgets for mobile apps, does it mostly relate to the budget cuttings, or it's in general the change of trend that the more like marketing is focused not on just paid traffic but some, I don't know, other methods of organic growth or something like that?
Yeah, so we do have quite a lot of history in terms of like historical data, and we do have some connections with our customers and stuff like that, and sometimes we actually ask them. We have two major evidence. First, we do see some customers that are saying, yeah, we cut our budget. We are not doing user acquisition as we used to. And the second evidence is that when you're looking 3 years back, you don't see anything that looks like this trend. There is usually patterns, but this is something which is out of the ordinary when you're looking 4 years back. So this is why we think that it's related in some way to what we're experiencing today in the market, because usually the market is behaving the same. So this is why we think that this is the possibility.
okay. By the way, if anybody from the audience sees any cool trends or interesting trends in marketing analytics, please share. Yeah. And of course, feel free to ask questions.
Hello, my name is Maria, and I also work on Similarweb, but I don't know these guys. No, just because we are so big, and I work in GTM go-to-market department. I'm an account manager, so I speak with clients every day. And I want to ask about, maybe not the trend, but it's kind of trend from my clients, that many clients ask me, and before also I worked in marketing with different mentions analysis service, and clients very often ask me about how we can analyze like some new type of platforms, like a special Windows, special apps. I don't ask about Web3, yeah, but something additional. It's not a dark internet, but it's something like new, different special platforms, pop-ups, and something like that, where we can like sometimes just find some information, or they just put information there, and sometimes they can also ask, I don't know, chatbot, something like that. How do you think? Is it important to go to this like area, like so for some big companies and analytics service, or maybe it's not so important? It's not so big part of like an internet area.
Actually, there is some use cases in Similarweb specifically when more of our heavy users that really know the product into its core uses, because one of the strongest thing when you have actual user panel is that we are seeing everything, not only apps which are in the store, and not only websites which are indexed. We actually we never productize it, but I know about the customers that we have that use our platform to analyze how many users are downloading his app outside of the store. Like, for example, Minecraft, which cost approximately $3. If you will check how many times it was downloaded by the Google Play console, you will see a number which is like, I think, almost 2 times smaller than what it's actually downloaded, because most of the people downloaded the free hacked version outside of the store. So this is how this customer specifically, he actually learned me about how we did this use case with our system. I think that we just, maybe we don't see enough market for it right now, but we have some cool stuff that you can do, which is outside of the indexed website world and the app, like Apple Store and Google Play Store. but I think it was really specific for Similarweb, so sorry.
For answering your question, I think when we talk with the LATAM region specialists from PR area and marketing area, I think they answer us to monitor traditional media and social media. But if you go closer to China, then we heard a lot of do you analyze the WeChat mentions and so on. So it depends on the region, and I think for now it's maybe it needs to cover the traditional social media like TikTok or YouTube. It's not cover in 100%. So it's we have a lot of job to do, a lot of work to do that. That's why I think it's the traditional social media is for now it's important as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I guess. Well, let me ask another question. For the marketing space, what are the most curious, interesting AI applications you have seen besides, I guess, your everyday work, or what do you think is interesting? Where do you think AI could be applied to machine learning? Could be applied to marketing overall? Right. Of course, social media classification. Anybody has something in mind?
I can only talk about my topic, about the use cases that we see on Toloka platform somehow related to marketing. Apart from those social media monitoring, which we have a bunch of use cases by Smelter and by other requesters on the platform who are building their solutions. Apart from that, and actually that's kind of what you mentioned, not directly related to marketing, but in general, the projects and use cases related to monitoring and extracting information from the web, like monitoring the news about the companies, for example, and etc. These are another use cases. And also, for example, where the power of the crowdsourcing is used is quite often some things related to, for example, side-by-side comparison of the objects, where people are asked to vote for different versions of design, for example, or different versions of the sides of the logos of something else. And that's an interesting approach which allows use case which allows the requesters to kind of digitalize the subjective opinions, because when you ask one person like which design or something is better than the other, it's just a subjective opinion, and like if you take two designers, they may kill each other, like fighting whose design is better. But if you ask thousands of people asking a simple question, which design do you like better, then you get already a quantified estimation of which is preferred by the people, and that's the crowdsourcing is used there as some proxy between like full-scale A/B testing approach, which requires more infrastructure, etc., while setting up the questionnaire on Toloka for the crowdsourcing is much easier. And these are types of the use cases that we see quite often on Toloka related to that. Yeah, I think that's
cool. Yeah,
This
that's
is something that is happening with Midjourney, the text-to-image, where they took like a different approach than the other one, DALL-E 2 and Stable Diffusion, and this is by using Discord, and so users can see what other users are doing and their prompts, and this is helpful for the product. They are voting, they're choosing the quality of the
actually the whole side-by-side thing is a very efficient tool for like different approaches of like fine-tuning, for example, the results of the model, because the models can generate you tons of content, but then you need to like select the best of them. For example, they have you get 10,000 of images generated by the network, but you need actually only 5 out of 10,000. How do you select the best ones? And one of the approaches is using the side-by-side comparison. You ask a lot of people, every like image, for example, gets a score, then you can rank all the images according to that score, and you can automatically select the ones which gained the majority of the scores from real people. And this is kind of the combination of machine learning and human power, which allows you to extract quite easily the final solution.
I think like interesting goal in this domain is to synthetically create an influencer. That AI generated script to building somebody from scratch into an army of followers, and I think it's a very interesting algorithm challenge for AI people, because it's in marketing and psychology. And I think people are actually doing it now. And some influencers out there that are very authentic, very cutting edge, very compelling, are actually being guided by AI at their every move. And in a few years, we're going to have published articles about these are the exact steps I took to win all the crowd and to be a better influencer than the rest.
How many do you think right now are robots behind?
No, they're not robots. They're people just diligently following what the robot tells them to do.
So guided by some...
I think now there are several Instagram, I cannot call them people, several Instagram accounts that are completely generated by AI, including images and text. So it's exactly what you said.
So the search for authenticity, like ironically, I mean, we can probably, these people, I mean, like the people are looking for the both authentic user and not astroturfed users. Actually, I think they're tuning down like their messages and when to include the product placement and things like that, like how to integrate it into their life. So I think it's some people are completely just scripted by others.
The question for you, my name is Michael, I'm head of research in Politica. I think that generative AI is going through a revolution now. Just these moments, the recent several months, every day there is a new paper with better results. How do you think these results and these generative abilities to generate text, images, videos, whatever, graphics, they can generate 3D objects, how will it influence marketing analytics, your area?
I think that we will need to find these items. We in Similarweb, we present ads, and we show ads, we show the effectiveness of ads. So I think there will be just, as I said, generated ads on the fly. So somebody will just put in, as you said, put in a prompt, and you will get a nice ad that will just improve. And that it will be so cheap that you will get targeted, like a targeted small movie for you. I already saw these examples, so my friend is working on one of the later models in generative movies, and it's really compelling.
Well, I'm here to ask questions, but I guess I'm going to also share some experience with. One of the things we saw was generating ads with generative text. Is it turns out a lot of, like, you have a lot of small businesses, it's really hard to come up with some good catchy phrase for whatever they're doing. And sometimes when you have a model generating a few ads and then just selecting by yourself which one is better, it really works very well on a large scale to help that. We actually have an online question. What is the state of sentiment analysis in marketing analytics? What is your opinion?
Actually, we did couple of months ago something that we are not sure how it will fit the market. But we started to notice, and it's something which is also published by Google Play and App Store, that reviews is becoming more and more crucial part for the app visibility on the store, and we dive into a project which turns out to be pretty big, of like review sentiment and sentiment analysis, and we actually find out that there is like an amazing efforts invested by mainly the top-ups in order to actually analyze these reviews and react to them. And we actually took, we started with something that most of the market was doing up to this point, is to take everything as all the reviews and divide it to like the same topics. That we also wanted to know that if a review is negative, we also wanted to know what is the customer is complaining about. And when we checked the Google Play in-house reviews, we saw that it has like 8 generic topics, which is what is doing in order to give the developer some insights about the reviews. And what we discovered is that the depth of the reviews is much more vast. And we decided to do another project, which is to do a review analysis per category. So we discovered that to say that the user complained about bug or about the design is not enough. And when we do it, for example, on casino categories, you said you're from Playtika, right? And we discovered like much more topics. In gaming, especially, we discover something which called like the app is too much pay to win. There is too much hackers. We discover sensitive content issues, some complaints about.
Let me also, I guess, give some examples. So there are some simple tasks in popular providers. Maybe sentiment analysis is probably like super popular external task, and then there are some hard external tasks like generating text with some sophistication, like what OpenAI is doing, right? So there's all sorts of different complexity in tasks, and there's also different levels of development of the company or different importance for the company. So maybe share some experience of when do you think it's interesting to do inside versus outside development, reliance on the AI solutions.
I think for us it's depends on the. So we try adaptive models because we don't have a lot of resources, and we think that for now is in our stage it's very important to grow very fast and to do more useful tasks for our clients as soon as possible. So that's why we decided to integrate the adaptive models, because it's because of the time to market. And that's why I think for the startups is a great decision to use the outstanding services like the adaptive models.
Yeah, I think it's in general comes from the dynamics of the business. Until you reach the limit when you cannot grow further, specifically because you don't have your own proprietary model, there is no point in starting to invest in that if you can grow more effectively without that. So I think it's.
So we've discussed this several times before this panel. I think for Israel it's tougher. I think this idea that somebody else is going to do a model and we're going to rely on this outside model, even though it's a service, like a very under service. But I think once you go over the psychology of, but I have data scientists here, they should. I think it will. Your solution is the future. So this is what is going to happen, and just be indifferent to it. So okay, So I have this problem. It's not my my use case. It's not my main business. I will use this solution. I still think that I asked you this, and I can return the question back to you. So I think for Israelis that the model stays on your side compared to you giving me the keys, and the model is now mine. And this is a question I think we will need to answer in some markets for some companies, because I think some companies will very much like to be done with you. I mean, buy this solution from you and then have the property rights for this model. So this is something I think you will need to take into consideration going forward.
In one sentence, if I will give you the engineering perspective, you can think about this idea as same as we see 10 years ago when the cloud enters our life. Everything today, lots of things today in the engineering world is now managed. There is almost, when I'm looking on my junior data engineering backends, I think nobody ever built its own server-side backend. Everything is microserviced, and we're using managed Airflow and managed. When I got inside Similarweb, we had our own MapReduce cluster when we actually managed directly the instances and installed Spark and did like everything by ourselves. And today we are in a completely different world. So I think that if it happened in this area, it could happen in the research area. So the idea is already proven in some area in engineering, so maybe it could be in data science.
By the way, I had just to specify the thing that you mentioned about the specific Israelis approach. Do you think it is like cultural thing, or it is rather because for specifically the Israeli market there are lots of Hebrew specific models and etc.
No, I'm talking about psychological things.
Thank you very much. These are quite interesting perspectives. Actually, it was really cool to see. Like, okay, well, maybe you grow and then you start realizing that now you need a model, but then your profile provides entirely different perspectives. Like things get commoditized because you have right abstraction levels, and then it's like as soon as you have a right abstraction level, just use this abstraction level, and it's much easier to use. Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you very much. Anybody still has any questions, feel free to ask. If not, then thank you for the panel and thank you for the listeners. Let's mingle a little bit more and enjoy our evenings.